we're incredibly excited about the investment in Barstow International Gateway, which is now being referred to as BIG. BIG is really a state-of-the-art master plan facility, first of its kind by a Class 1 railroad. And it will be, when fully built out, will be the largest facility in North America, twice as large as what exists today. It'll encompass about 4,800 acres, and it will have proximity about 100 miles from the ports of LA and Long Beach on our southern transcon. It will have an intermodal facility, what we call a block swap yard, which we can talk about in a minute. And then it will also have something unique in the industry, which is it will have new distribution center warehouse capacity inside of the gate, which will allow us to have private streets, heavy haul corridors with a captive chassis pool. So we're excited about that. And we really look at this as the next step, Ari, in, when you think about the supply chain, you think about the vessels have become bigger, larger TEU vessels. The warehousing capacity, I think, is 70% bigger than it was even 6 years ago. And even the containers have grown over time. And so for us, we look at BIG as really that next investment in an expanding supply chain. We really think that it's not a Band-Aid, it's not a pop-up. It's really what this entire ecosystem at the port needs. So we're excited about the investment, and we're excited about what it can do for, like I said, the entire ecosystem.
So one of the things I want to clear up is I think there is a misconception out there that that BIG is going to be basically only for transloading, that it's going to be people who want to transload mainly into JB Hunt containers, your partner, on the domestic side. That is not true. So can you sort of explain the IPI side of it for the shippers out here who don't really need to transload into 53s?
Sure, absolutely. So when we came up with the concept of BIG, we started by talking to our customers. And one of the things we heard from our customers is we want the ability to move intact as well as be able to transload. And so we built it with optionality in mind to begin with. So let me just explain, maybe if I take a minute, Ari, to explain how it's going to work. So on the intact side, the IPI side, the beauty of BIG is that we're going to be able to evacuate quickly freight off of the ports of LA and Long Beach through the marine terminals. And so let's just start with the eastbound movement of IPI. I don't envision single point big density trains really changing when it comes to BIG. It'll go through BIG because it's on our southern transcon, but it will enjoy the benefit of the improved throughput through the facilities. But we're still going to have the marine terminals work with us to build single point destination trains into the interior. So on the eastbound side, not a lot on that. Where the real benefit is on the smaller blocks. So think a destination like St. Louis, where we don't have the density to run every single day an intact IPI train to St. Louis. What happens now is that freight sits on the docks, or it sits through the marine terminals and waits to have a train. Now we can actually flush the terminals, which helps the capacity at the terminals, move that up to that block swap yard that I talked about. And really, the block swap yard will allow us to have, adjacent to our intermodal facility, a place to bring all those small blocks up, build a denser train, and have more frequency day-of-week departures to those smaller block destinations. In addition to that, then, if you think about, we know that the freight that wants to transload going eastbound will come up, and as opposed to being deconsolidated, working its way through traffic in Los Angeles, we're going to run those shuttle trains up to the facility, have the distribution centers inside of the facility. We're building a facility for autonomous vehicles, doesn't have to go on the street, and we have that captive chassis pool. We think, Ari, we probably can take 2 to 3 days out of the transload and then improve the fluidity and the rateability of the IPI. And then another benefit is, as you think about coming westbound, one of the challenges that we have coming westbound in today's world is that we're moving containers, bare tables, trains, and we're staging those online on the transcon. We don't want to have to do that. We want to be able to bring it into the Barstow facility, 100 miles from the ports, and then have rateability on feeding that into the marine terminals. So again, the capacity, it's going to have about 60 additional trains of capacity inside this facility, 30 miles of track. And the proximity to the ports is a great thing. And then the other piece that I think will really help is the integration of the TMS systems.